Hello guys, today's lecture is about the process of gametogenesis, the process in which the germ cells lining the gonads are converted into the functional gametes, that is sperm cells in case of male and oocyte cells or egg cells or oocyte in case of female is known as gametogenesis. And the organs which are responsible for that, they are known as the primary sex organs or the gonads, that is testis in the male and ovaries in case of female. You will be surprised to know that per day around 1000 to 1500 number of sperm cells are produced per second. That means around 5 to 10 billion number of cells per day in case of a human. But if you go to a bull, it is 5 to 15 billion number of cells are produced per day. That means it is from species to species, they are different, but the number is important. Why I am saying to you, now can you believe that the huge number of cells are produced per day? That means they are derived from some of the cells which are in continuous phase of division and differentiation, and that's known as the primordial germ cells. These primordial germ cells are present in the lining of the gonads, and under the specific influence of hormones, genes, environmental factors, nutritional factors, age, they undergo series of divisions, and after that they undergo differentiation, and by virtue of that process the functional gametes are produced. So with this brief introduction, I am going to focus particularly on the process of spermatogenesis, and I will give two flowcharts, where in one flowchart I will show how the gonads are being organized, and in the second flowchart I will show how the spermatogenesis occur. I will make this lecture very simple for that, so that you can understand how the primordial germ cells are being divided. Thereafter they undergo the process of differentiation to produce the gametes. The structure is known as gonads. Gonads means these are also known as primary sex organs, and the organs which are known as primary sex organs means they carry out the process of gametogenesis. Gametogenesis is a process in which the gametes are produced. Gametes means these are the functional cells which are going to carry out the process of reproduction. In case of male, this gametogenesis is commonly known as spermatogenesis, and the resultant cells which are produced are known as spermatozoa or the sperm. In case of female, this is in case of male. In case of female, it is known as oogenesis, and it produces oocyte. This spermatogenesis occurs in the testis, and it's an initiation as well as completion. Both occur inside the testis. But whereas oogenesis mostly starts in the ovary and is completed in the oviduct, but anyways it occurs in ovary. This total process of gametogenesis involves a process in which the primordial germ cells, that is the stem cells, these are converted to the functional gametes. That is the process. These primordial germ cells are known as the stem cells, and the cells which are known as stem cells, that means they show two processes. One is known as self renewal, that means they divide and they will produce the cells like themselves, that is self renewal, and the second process is known as the differentiation, that means ability to give rise to other kind of cells. So in case of testes, in case of ovary, in both these cases, these primordial germ cells, they play a critical role. And as this lecture is mostly focused on this part, that is the male part, I'll show how these primordial germ cells undergo the process of division and then differentiation to produce a functional cell that is known as sperm. Please remember, students, sperm, even though produced inside the testes, are non-motile. They are also said to be immature. Structurally, they may be having the different parts as they are compartmentalized, but they undergo a sequence of maturation and storage phases inside the epididymis that makes the sperm competent enough to gain the process of fertilization. And it is the epididymis where also the sperm is stored, but they are not motile, but they gain motility when they move from the head part of the epididymis to the tail part, that is from the caput, then corpus, then the cauda. Second point, if you derive directly the sperm cell from the testes and want to fertilize them, you may not be able to, but they have to be provided with external conditions in which they will be activated or be capable of fertilization. These are the 2 points to remember. And third point is that the testis is the reserve of the sperm cells, no doubt about that, and it occurs in the seminiferous tubules, which are known as the structural and functional unit of the testis. Around 200 to 300, ranging from 600 to 900 among the animals and human, their number varies, but they are between 600 to 900 tubules. That means 2 to 3 tubules per each lobe of the testis they are being present. So we will discuss this in the testicular structure in my lecture, but for the time being, you just remember that it occurs inside the seminiferous tubule. A seminiferous tubule has two distinct parts. One is known as the basal part or the basement part, and one is the luminal part. So we will consider the process today as a general process. Then in the second lecture, we'll see how it is interacting with the Sertoli cells and what do you mean by blood testis barrier, and how the different stages of the spermatogenesis or the spermatogenic cycles they come to the lumen. And before beginning the next flowchart, you should remember 60 to 70 days is the normal cycle of spermatogenesis in case of man, whereas it is 60 to 64 days in case of a bull. That means it takes around 2 months for the sperm to produce inside the testes. This flowchart shows the events of the spermatogenesis, and it will form the foundation of the further lecture. Just have a look. Testis, this is the master flowchart. Testis, the units of the testis are known as the seminiferous tubules, and these seminiferous tubules, they show the seminiferous epithelium, and these seminiferous epithelium, they give rise to the primordial germ cells, and these primordial germ cells, they produce the sperm cells or the sperm. This is one line explanation. Now coming to seminiferous tubule, these are known as the functional and structural unit of testis, each testis, and it is around 600 to 900 per testis. That makes it a complicated tubular structure. Seminiferous epithelium, this is also known as germinal epithelium, and here these epithelium shows cuboidal cells, and these cuboidal cells are known as the primordial germ cells. This is the predominant cell. Along with this, some other cells are present like the Sertoli cell, the myoid cell, they are present, but for the time being, the primordial germ cells, and they are considered as the stem cells. And these are the stem cells which are always in two process. They are in the continuous process of division by means of mitosis as well as meiosis. Mitosis is predominant to increase the number, meiosis to reduce their chromosome number, because all the gametes are haploid in nature. So meiosis, mitosis both occur. And there is a phase of remodeling. I can say this is a phase of metamorphosis, or this is the phase in which a functional sperm cell is produced. That means I can divide the entire process, this primordial germ cells, it undergoes spermatogenesis, and these spermatogenesis is broadly classified into two types or two parts here that we are understanding. Some are undergoing the process of division by both meiosis mitosis, and some are undergoing remodeling. That means there is a phase 1 and phase 2. So here I can write that two phases. One is spermatidogenesis and second one is spermeogenesis. This spermatidogenesis is also known as spermatocytogenesis. Spermatocytogenesis. Cyto means cell, genesis means formation. And spermeogenesis is also known as spermatolysis. So these are the two events. In the spermatogenesis, what happens? The primordial germ cells, that is this, they are converted to spermatid by the continuous process of division, growth and meiosis. Both mitosis and meiosis occur. And this process is known as spermatidogenesis. But what is spermeogenesis or spermatolysis? In this process, this spermatid is converted to sperm, the functional cell, the sperm. If you see a spermatid, it is almost oval in shape with a distinct nucleus. But if you see a sperm, it is just like this, having distinguished structures like the acrosome, the nucleus, and a very defined, the most important, that is flagella. So this I am repeating in summary. Spermatidogenesis or spermatocytogenesis is the process in which the primordial germ cells, they are producing the spermatid. And what is spermeogenesis or spermatolysis? The process in which the spermatid are converted to functional cells, those are known as sperm. So this is the introduction to the process of gametogenesis. Now we are going to see what are the fundamental steps of the primordial germ cells, as we came to know that both mitosis and meiosis occur, and we will also try to understand why such a huge number of cells are produced, and that too continuously they are produced. Before going further, another hook point for you all, that's if the radiation is there, spermatogenesis may stop, because they are very active cells, they may be destroyed. During the time of cancer chemotherapy, it is also seen as these are first dividing cells, they stop division and the spermatozoa production decreases. And that's the important point to remember, because the more the active the cell, the more is the ability to respond to radiation or the chemotherapeutic drugs. Let's draw another final flow chart where I am going to show what is spermatidogenesis and what is spermatolysis. And in the next, we will study in detail the factors which affect how hypothalamus pituitary gland are associated, what is the role of Sertoli cells, Leydig cells, what is feedback mechanism, how androgen binding protein is concentrating the testosterone, how the testosterone is causing the process of spermatogenesis, what are the kind of process of differences are there. So let's compare, just in a gist for all knowledge, spermatogenesis, and now I have two words with me. This is always a question of choice. fundamental. One is known as Spermatidogenesis and this is Spermeogenesis. In this process, the primordial germ cells, they are converted to spermatid, and in this process the spermatid, they are converted to the sperm cell or the spermatozoa. So this is the basic difference between the two. Then the second point, it involves continuous process of division and also growth. But whereas this process involves remodeling, I can say metamorphosis. Number 3, in this process, oval non-flagellated cell is produced. There is no acrosome. DNA is not compact. Mitochondria are not in helix. But when I come to this part, here we are getting a flagellated cell, compact nucleus, helical arrangement of mitochondria. That means this makes very specific, and this has the power to move, but this is not. Next, this occurs in two phases, as I told. The first is mitosis, where the number will increase, and the second one is the meiosis one, where the chromosome number will become haploid. That means 2n is converted to n. This is the beauty of this spermatidogenesis. Whereas in the spermiogenesis, no division occurs. That's the first point. No division occurs, but differentiation occurs. This is the final maturation process, and this process is always responsible for formation of a competent active cell which will acquire the process of motility and fertilizing competence after some time. So with this very brief introduction, this lecture came to an end. In the next lecture, we are going to see what is spermatidogenesis, what is spermiogenesis. So next class is mostly focused on spermatidogenesis. So keep learning, and please do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. These contents are only available to those who are continuously watching and having a stay alert to these notifications. So thank you so much. Keep learning.